It is about to be a new moon. So I am just ecstatic. We have such a big astrology week coming in. So I am not going to talk about it because it has not happened, but I definitely have a feeling I'll be discussing it next week. But this week, I want to talk about the big three. When I say big three, I mean the question you ask when you need clarity. Now, I have been doing manifestation work and studying it for about maybe 3 years now. Religiously, no, not until this year when I was prompted by God, Infinite Spirit, and my spirit guides and team to do this work to help me work on my mindset. The reason why I did that is because as a collective, we are starting a year 9. And I was prompted by my spirit team to look at the astrology planets. We have 9 of them. I don't care what they say about Pluto not being a planet. That has so much effect on how we function as a society. I'm not disregarding it. And Pluto is all about death and destruction and rebirth. And last year we all had a year 9. This is a year 1. And year 1 for me is all about Mercury and mainly communication, how you communicate with the world, and what influences that is your thoughts. So doing this mindset work wasn't just about manifesting, it was about creating a reality that I love, I can be proud of, and one that I want to share with the world around me. If you want to see everything I've done from the beginning of this year, you can go check that out. Mindset Magic is the playlist that you can watch all of this. I am in the process of manifesting a car. I wanted to see what benefits I could get from this exercise because I do need a car, but it's been a learning experience. And the one of the biggest experiences I've had is understanding that no's are a blessing. It helps build discernment. It also helps you to build inner trust. And this asking of 3 is something that I did even before I started manifestation work. When I started doing my energy healing practice and working as a shaman and energy healer, which was about 12 years ago and some change. And so what I would do, because we, especially as, well, I don't want to say just as women, but we have, as a society, have largely been taught not to trust our intuition. I believe that's where a lot of our issues come from. But one of the main beliefs that I have is all of us have the capacity to be our own healer. We just have to be taught the tools and how to do it to not only encourage us to enable that gift that is dormant in a lot of us, but I want to teach people the art of freedom. It's something that's so near and dear to my heart. So when it comes to wanting clarity on something, and I'm not going to give you an example now, I'll tell you a story in a little bit from what I've experienced this week and how it's really supported me, not only once, but multiple times on this journey of manifesting a car. I will do is I will say, God, I need help with blank. Will you give me 3 signs of whether or not it is a yes and I need to move forward, or if it is a no? And I was asked this question on TikTok of what these signs look like. And it'll vary from person to person, which is why I'm going to share this story with you, because I have found that we as humans love things to be black and white, like things to come in a simplistic box, easy to follow, instructions, bada bing, bada boom, that's it. But the universe is not linear, so instructions sometimes don't work. And the other thing that I have learned is the universe actually functions like a ADHD person. It gives you side quests. So you have to learn to let go of the frigidity of needing to control. And you have to open up to not only a new way of thinking, because the universe communicates in not only signs, spirit animals, it talks to you through people, it talks to you through pretty much your love language, your soul language. And so in asking for 3 signs from the universe, this will teach you discernment, because sometimes you may want something so bad, you will make up signs, or other entities and beings will mess with you just to deter you from actually being in alignment. So they will plagiarize their voice as infinite spirit, God. So you learn to discern what is God's voice. What does that sound like for me? What is that energy? It's always an energy. And when you are desiring something, it's easy to misread energies because your body is in a heightened state of fight or flight. And we as humans are naturally fucking impatient. So we will try and force things. That literally happened to me this week. I was trying to force something. And that's when I took a step back and I'm like, I'm trying to force this. I need to do energy healing. Because when we're trying to force something, that means we are out of alignment. We are trying to force our will, not God's will. And that's when we have to do our energy healing work. That's when we need to be like, take a step back. There's something that I need to work through that's blocking me. And rather than trying to force your will and go over it, the point is to sit there, do your work. The wall will dissolve. And then the answers will come to you with greater ease. Just think of a wall. If it dissolves, guess what? You just get to walk through. What it takes is taking a moment to slow down, do what's being called of you to get centered. And once you're centered, you can continue on your journey. What I have learned on mine is not only learning what discernment, but learning what my soul language is. And when people ask for signs, I see a lot of people ask for a specific sign. And I think that this does work. And I also think that this takes a lot of trust. And for a lot of us, that can get really not convoluted, but blocked. Because if you have not built your muscle of trust, your level of understanding the communication, the flow of energy, what that energy looks like, what that feels like, you will, at least I've experienced, had greater struggle. So I like to leave it up to universe simply because I want to understand what this language looks like rather than telling it, this is how I want you to communicate to me. This is what I need you to do. That does not work for me. I also know for my soul and my soul's lesson, learning to be less demanding and learning to detach is what's for my highest good. So you also have to be understanding of what does your soul need. And there are times where I have, when other people will ask for signs for me and I'll see them. And that's usually what I like. If someone else, because I believe that someone else is bringing a level of God through to me. They're gifting God's inner knowing. And I usually I can tell if I want to accept that message from someone. An example, there's a woman on here that there's a woman on TikTok that I love. She will always be like, universe, give this person a sign that, they're beautiful, they're wonderful, they got the job coming. She's just such a good energy. I really like her. And I will see these videos and they don't always resonate with me. But this week, there's one that did. And she said, look for blue ducks. And I was like, okay, I'll open myself up to this. I'll play along. And what ended up happening was I ended up seeing 2 blue ducks. And as you can tell, I'm in a different outfit and I had to record just because of some glitches with Mercury retrograde and just not being grounded and present. It was my bad. I don't like when people like to blame everything on astrology. But when there are big shifts, it can create a mental, almost brain fog. It makes it harder to be as productive as you'd like to be at times. But what happened was while I was going on this drive to look at a car, I ended up seeing 2 blue ducks. And I left it open to the universe to show me because I felt like I could trust it. I felt open enough to trust because prior to that, anytime I asked for a distinct sign, I had never gotten it. And this goes back to what I had said a little bit before, was when you don't have a foundation of trust, it may be harder for you to see that. And maybe not even, I know people who don't have a trust in the world, but they have trust in themselves. And so I think that's the core of my mistrust, is a mistrust in myself. So this whole manifesting a car has actually turned into a big exercise in learning to trust myself, learning to really listen, learning to not jump the gun, to be discerning, how to detach. It's really bringing forward the lessons that I really need as I close out my year 9. We are starting a new 9-year cycle, and you have a personal and a collective. So knowing where you're at with both is really interesting and just good information to have, so you can be aware of both energies and how they're playing out internally and in the world around you. So for me, I feel a little bit behind, and I keep telling myself, you are a year 9, so you're closing out a lot of things right now. So just be aware of that. Don't judge yourself. Don't automatically think, oh, I'm in a year 1. Why am I not getting all these amazing I wouldn't say, why am I not having these amazing experiences, because I am. Why am I not having the evolution that I thought I would? But the reality is I am having that evolution. It's just not coming in the form that I thought it would. What I can do, and this has to do with my soul language, how can I show up, be present, and be of service? Show up, be present, be of service. Those are the big 3 things for me. And that's not even touching on the big 3 when it comes to asking for clarity. Those are just a part of the process. And I feel more and more people will be called forward to be open, be present, and be of service. And with this manifestation and the style in which I've been doing it, it really embodies that service, and it allows me to ask the question, is this for the highest good of all involved? And that's where the big 3 comes in, because I was really questioning if this car was going to be for me. I'd seen the 2 blue ducks. I was feeling good. I started seeing angel signs come up, and I was listening to them because it was a little bit of a drive. So I was listening to YouTube, really tapping into this energy. I was feeling good. And then that's when my nervous system just became completely dysregulated. Because of that lack of trust, I started looking for proof that this was going to happen. And whenever you start forcing, looking, I call them anxiety grabs. That's when you have to ask yourself, do I need to get grounded? Do I need to do some energy healing? And I got a yes. So I was in the process of completing energy healing, specifically tied to the blueprint of light. And I've been doing this a lot slower so I can really be present with the emotions, what's coming up, how are they relevant to this process, to my life, and how are they asking me to show up now? So, this process, yes, it's taking a little bit longer, but I'm building a foundation of inner knowing, inner trust. And when you do it, anything the first time, it's going to take a little longer. So, I'm giving myself a lot of grace with this process, because I know I'm building a foundation that will serve me for greater dexterity moving forward. So on this drive, I waited till I got to my spot, did some energy healing, and then I went and, you know, on the way there, I prayed to give me the 3 signs. And when I pulled into the dealership lot, I noticed that the car that I wanted to look at was had the hood open. And I'm like, oh, that's not a good sign. Number 1. And I ended up just kind of like, okay, we'll see how this happens. We'll see. I was already having some good signs, and maybe that's just me being overly judgmental. And I feel like I'm the queen of gaslighting, because I was gaslit so much as a child with my intuitive gifts and knowing, that it really created this disconnection from my inner knowing. And it's been a very painful journey, because when you know something to be true, but the world around you tells you no, that can be very hard, especially when you don't have support. And I'm not saying that I don't have support, but that's why I feel having a spiritual practice is very key, because it no matter how much support you have, you will always have God, you will always have infinite spirit, and you will always be in tune. So regardless of what's going on around you, because there will be times in your life where you will face, at least I'm speaking from personal experience, I face a lot of adversity. And part of me feels that has to do with mindset, has to do with having what I had to learn. So there's a few different things that played out with that. And I believe where I'm at on my journey that things are changing and shifting for the better and are opening up because I'm opening up. But when you are alone in those moments, because I was by myself, I didn't have someone to reassure me. I wasn't going to call anybody because I was on a strict, you know, not a regiment, but I had a little bit of a time crunch with that. So I was very focused on, okay, what do you need to do right now, Anna? Be open, be present, and be ask how I can be of service. So I basically just kind of was open. So me being of service was not being judgmental. Now that I'm saying it, I'm realizing, okay, that's what not being judgmental is a way of being a service to other people. Does it mean that you have to take on other people's stuff? No. But it means that you can show up and be present and offer that Christ-like consciousness to and love to other people through your essence. And when you're judgmental, you shut that down 110%. So I just remained non-judgmental to not only the people around me, but the circumstances I was in. And I was given a lot of grace too because was running late, and they ended up having time for me. So I just felt a lot of grace with this whole experience, which is why I was like, well, maybe because I've had a lot of good, you know, experiences with grace, maybe that's a yes. So I just kind of sat there. And then when I got into the car, it just kept beeping at me. And I was just like, okay, that didn't feel good. And regardless of there being a lot of grace, regardless of there being a lot of good experiences with this whole situation, because I'm going to backtrack a little bit here. I had rented a car. I had changed locations. They said they didn't have anything available. Someone happened to bring a car in early. They gave it to me, and I got a discount because it was the car that I didn't want. And again, I wasn't judgmental. I was like, thank you for this. It wasn't the car that I wanted, but I was like, it's the car that I need. So that to me was like, there's so much grace in this experience. Could these be yeses? And I'm sharing, just hold on, just wait for me. It'll become clear why I'm sharing all of this. And when I went to test drive the car, I kept hearing those beeps. And he was like, oh, it just, the battery is put in. We can't figure it out. Don't worry about it. And I just got this really big feeling. It was just like, no. I just heard no. Nothing extreme, nothing. I went for a test drive. It felt good. I was like, I'll take it for a PPI. Because I was just like, okay, I'm very, very trusting person. I was like, well, maybe if I take it in there and we fix the beeping, which ironically, when they did the PPI, they did fix the beeping. I figured they would. Um, I didn't think much of it, but I also didn't disregard it either. So I'm like, okay, we're waiting for a 3. What's the third yes? Because up until that point, I hadn't felt an actual yes. Was I having a good experience all around because I was embodying grace for myself and for others? Yes, absolutely. Did I see a bunch of signs and stuff that were supporting me on this journey? Yes. But signs can support you, but they don't mean they're a definite big 3. Doesn't mean that they are the answers that you are seeking, especially since I got triggered and ended up going into a happy grab moment. That was a sign that this was just triggering something for me to learn, something for me to process. And so I went to this PPI. The AC was shut off, was sitting there. My phone was almost dead. Instead of getting grouchy, I ended up being like, okay, how can I be present? Ended up having a wonderful conversation with someone there. And it reminded me of times without cell phones where you just need to connect with people. And I didn't think anything of it. And then the guy pulled me over and he's like, well, you see this oil leak? I would not purchase this car. I'm like, okay. That's my no. That's my third no. And then he told me a few other things, and I was just like, all right. So I drove it back, told the guy no, told him that he would need to get that fixed, and he'd also need to fix the brakes and replace all of the tires because there was a freaking nail in the tire. So I was grateful that I got back. I didn't, get mad. I just detached. I gave the keys back, and I was like, well, this just wasn't meant to be. Drove home, did some more energy healing, and that was it for me. And I just kind of, yeah, of course, there's always a part of you when you want something, it doesn't happen. There's a little disappointment, and that's natural. Ended up eating some food, felt better. We were okay. Got home, and I was just like, you know what? We will, what do you need me to do? And so God told me go test drive some cars. So I went and test drive some cars so I could get a feel for them because I have been looking at other cars. I'd only test drive two styles of cars, and I just heard go test drive them so you can get a feel of what these cars are like, what may feel right for you. Ended up having a really good conversation with the salesperson. They made me feel comfortable and at ease. And I'm like, I like working with a salesperson. That was on my list. I'd made a whole list last week of things that I wanted from this experience with the car: a good past owner, a good dealer that I was working with, something that would help me feel financially stable, and also a few different things that I wanted for the interior part of the car. So I, again, am just talking about this. I'm realizing where can I be open and where can I see my good and where can I also add in the things that I want. I feel like sometimes we get so focused on needing it to be one thing that we miss an opportunity. So that's what I've been asking: how, show me where my opportunity is, show me where it lies, and show me what I need to do to keep moving this forward. So when it comes to the big threes, there may be a lot of things around you that come up like a yes. And another example of this is when I was test driving the car over to the PPI person. I had linked up my phone, and all of a sudden my Spotify played this one song that always feels like a huge yes to me. It was about stars aligning, all of this stuff. I'll post it in the description because I absolutely love it. And so for me, I was like, "Ooh, this is a yes. This feels right." But really, what the universe was telling me was, things are aligning for me. Things are good. There's a lot of grace, and I am taken care of. That was very different than the three yeses. The three yeses came suddenly. They had a certain feeling to them. There wasn't this ethereal, questioning of, oh, wow, what's going on? It was a no, no, no. And other times, because I did this earlier this week, where I ended up having yes experiences. And I'm not going to go into great detail, but a part of the yeses, when I got them, they were all knowing. There was no question about them, and it's a feeling. There's such a, like, the yes feelings. I feel like my heart chakra opens up. I feel like I start crying. There's just an all-knowing feeling when it's a yes and when it's a no. You can't ignore it. It comes in quick, it comes in fast, and it comes in quite suddenly, and you usually aren't looking for it. I know I wasn't looking for those no's. I was looking for yeses, and I got hit with three no's back to back. And so I just said, okay, let it go, and went on my way. So this asking helps you to understand how those answers come up and how you can discern, because the universe is not linear. The universe is a multifaceted, dimensional being, dare I say, where you can have a lot of good experiences tied up in not good ones. It's all about being open, being present, and asking, how can I be of service, not only to others, but of yourself in that moment. So for me, the big three is a great practice and tool to know how you communicate with the universe. It's also a great tool when you are dysregulated to help you know the answers, because I was dysregulated as fuck. That's why I asked God, show me, because I'm not feeling present. It helps ground you back into present moment. So I use it as a tool to support me when I need additional help. Because another reality when it comes to manifesting is you may be prompted not to tell anyone what's going on. That's what happened to me this week. I was told not to tell anybody. So for me, I had to rely on universe. And that's something that's come up a lot on my healing journey is when people aren't present, I could be all sad and bummed out, but I'll never forget the first time when I had broken up with someone. It was the first time I was away from home. I didn't have any friends. I called literally everyone in my phone book. No one picked up the phone. I remember sitting there feeling all sorry for myself. All of a sudden, I hear God say, I want to be there for you. I want to be the one. I remember just sitting there and painting and being present and just being overcome with gratitude. And it's still taken a lot of time and practice to get used to being with God because the reality we're in says otherwise. It says that you need to have a congregation, you need to have a friend group, you need to have this, you need to have that. When the reality is, no, you fucking don't. Is it helpful to have support? Absolutely. Because we're human beings. And I feel on my journey, I was meant to be apart from people so I could, without a shadow of a doubt, bring this knowledge and these gifts into a world that does not readily understand them. I wouldn't say accept them. I just think it's more of a misunderstanding due to the way stories and history has depicted a lot of things. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail there, but I want to close this out by saying it's okay to be alone. It's okay to build that trust because it will serve you in knowing what is internally right for you. It also will help you know how you can be of the greatest service, which I feel is such a gift that you can give not only to yourself but the world around you. And asking that question can really make you uncomfortable because our world has taught us how to be selfish beings and to be of true service in alignment with the Christ-like consciousness is something that is very distinct, and it takes time and practice to understand what that feeling feels like, what that language is, and how it correlates to you in your life. Because what resonates for me isn't going to resonate for you for a number of different reasons. Mainly, how were you raised? Where were you raised? Are you male? Are you female? How many nationalities do you have, in your body? There's so many different things that come into play on what will best serve you. We can inspire each other for sure, but you will never know what your language is until you take the time to learn it. And that takes solitude. And that takes tools that will help you learn that language. And by clearing up your energetic channels of your aura, your chakras, and your meridians, that's how you will become a clearer channel for your divine infinite good. And you can get a number of different energy healing programs that I've created to do just that in the description below. And I'm really excited to see how this journey keeps unfolding because I was given a lot of good signs that things were working out and aligning in my favor. I just need to not blindly walk forward, but quietly, stealthily, and just in a grounded way, keep walking forward. So silence may be what's needed of me. It might just be my own process, my own journey at this point, and I'm okay with that. I just know that in having certain tools and practices like the asking the big 3, it helps you. It helps you know what's yours. It helps you know what's universe wants for you, and it also opens yourself up to things that might be beyond your way of thinking and knowing. And in stepping beyond that comfort zone, that's how you grow. And that's also how you build the foundation of inner trust. So I'm wishing you all a great week ahead. And I'm wishing you many blessings and myself many blessings in this next week to come.